just want to get this clear. I am from the Bronx. I am from the Bronx. I am from the Bronx. But my father is from Brooklyn. Mr. Rivera is from Brooklyn. And it's hard to believe, but my father owned these streets. I grew up coming to Brooklyn with this man respected in these streets. And I grew up watching it all be taken away from him. I grew up watching the history and culture of these neighborhoods taken away from all of us. Ever since I was young, I always knew I wanted to be an architect. And I always admired the buildings that were centuries old. I admired the buildings that had artwork on them. It's the same way when we're on the train or on a bus and we see abolition now, randomly in our day-to-day lives, that is uplifting. Like, yes. And as I was growing up, I saw those artworks ripped down. I saw these buildings destroyed. Even recently, my grandmother, who was born in Puerto Rico, who moved to Brooklyn and lived here for at least 30 years, had to move to the Bronx this year because she could not afford to live in the borough that she has lived for the past 30 years. It is important, and right now I'm not here for equality. Equality cannot be granted in a system that does not acknowledge you are a human being. I am not here to be equal to a white person. I am here specifically to empower black people. Because only black people can grant their own liberation. After the events that happened last week, it is important that we continue to move like water. Keep them on their toes. Keep on making them work for that paycheck. Because for the 26 hours I was detained, there was no work getting done. The only thing that they do, the only job they have in a precinct, in a correctional facility, is to torment and abuse me. That is their job. It is important that we come back to where we are from. We come back and we pay homage to the people, because there are still black and brown people who are struggling in these neighborhoods. Not living, but struggling in these neighborhoods because they are overlooked. They are exploited for their culture, the culture they have brought to these neighborhoods, and then kicked out. It is heartbreaking that there is a beautiful mural, a few, specifically in Bushwick, that acknowledge the Afro-Caribbean Puerto Ricans that came to this country. But where the murals are located are owned by white people. It is so telling because at the bottom, it's important when we go from these places and we continue to look at artwork, their date that the mural are created is always on there as well as the artist. And what I've been doing is I've been looking up the artist along with the date. Sometimes they have a title of the mural on the mural. And one specifically was a mom and pop shop, sorry. And it was owned by white people, it was a cafe. But they were still profiting off of the artwork that was displayed. And when I asked them if they could even understand the words, because it was in Spanish, they didn't know. They looked like I was confused, like, wait, there's words out there? To me, when I protest gentrification, it's not that I don't want white people in our neighborhoods, because segregation is in your history. Segregation is your practices, not mine. But you cannot allow yourselves to remain ignorant. You come to New York because of the culture that black and brown people have shown the world. You're not coming to New York for anything other than what black and brown people have created in New York City. You need to acknowledge that. Pay homage to it. Learn about the people who are already living in these neighborhoods. hold the people who are trying to represent these neighborhoods accountable. Don't even allow them to run. Protest. It takes one person to protest. Just one person. Especially when you're a white person, you have nothing to worry about at a one-person protest.
Say that to the dad. He said they'll help you. They'll join you.
So, as we move from this space, I want us all to be mindful that there are still black and brown people living in these neighborhoods. There are still black and brown people surviving in these neighborhoods. There are still black and brown businesses in these neighborhoods. So let's be mindful of that. We are here to educate and erase their ignorance. We're here to let people know. We're here to let them know that we will keep on coming back throughout the city.
Period.
That your ignorance will not be my future. Thank you.